We're back to inform you, entertain you, perhaps irritate you a little bit, but you get the facts. You get the facts here at Earl on Cars. We tell it like it is. Sometimes people don't like to hear how it is, but we tell it like it is. And at the end of this 2 hours, I mean, I don't expect you're going to listen for 2 hours, but if you listen for a few minutes, you'll learn something about how to deal with car dealers. That's really what it's all about. We have a industry, a huge worldwide industry that is operating in, I was going to say the 20th century, maybe even the 19th century, in the way they retail their product. Cars are retailed today the way they were 100 years ago. There are very few controls on the advertising, the sales practices. There are rules and there are laws, but they're not enforced. And we have a huge issue with the fact that the car dealers are pretty well grandfathered in. You wonder, why can't I buy a Chevrolet from General Motors, or why can't I buy a Honda directly from Honda? If you want to buy an Apple Watch, you can buy it from Apple, but you've got a franchise system here in the United States and really the world. It's a worldwide situation, which requires that cars be sold by car dealers. If a manufacturer wants to sell a car to you directly, and believe me, they do, they'd love to be like Tesla. That's a whole different story. But they're not allowed to by state law. General Motors, Ford, Toyota, Honda, all the manufacturers are locked into keeping their current dealer network. The dealers are a protected species, They cannot be fired, terminated, moved. They are in place to stay. And the only way that you can change that situation is through the legislature or through the regulators, and of course the dealers own them lock, stock, and barrel. It's called lobbying power. They have tremendous national, state, local lobbying power, money. They make a lot of money. And a lot of that money goes directly into political action committees and their associations. In Florida, it's the Florida Automobile Dealers Association, South Florida Dealers Association, the Tampa Association. There's one in North Florida. There's a national. And every state has one or two powerful state associations, and of course there's the most powerful of all, the National Automobile Dealers Association. So that's why you're dealing with what you're dealing with. You walk into a car dealership, you call, you go online, and they give you a price that's not honest. Yeah. You can't buy the car for the price they quote you. I mean, just think how frustrating it would be if you had to do the same thing at Publix or Target or Apple. You go in to buy an Apple Watch and they say, what are you willing to offer on this Apple Watch today? And you give me a number and I'll take it to my manager. This is the way cars were sold 100 years ago, and that's the way cars are sold today. So listen to this show, Earl on Cars, as long as you can. We have some experts in the studio. Sitting to my right is Rick Kearney, certified master diag technician. He knows all about cars. I mean, forget about the technicality. You ask a question, he'll answer it. And he has YouTube. He monitors the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Earl on Cars. So if you got your smartphone or your PC, go to YouTube, go to Earl on Cars, and you can talk directly to Rick Kearney. You can ask, send him a file, send him an audio file or a video file. If you have a noise in the back end of your car, Rick's got a little story he'll tell you a little later in the show about that. Customer came into our dealership with a noise in the back of the car. Interesting diagnosis. But give Rick a call if you have a squeak, rattle, or roll in your car you don't know about. He'll save you a ton of money. Stu Stewart, my son, the general manager of my dealership. Yes, I do. I'm a real live car dealer, and I'm talking bad about other car dealers. I do that. They don't like me.
You talk bad about yourself too.
I'm proud of myself. Yeah.
You talk bad about yourself too. You're fair.
Exactly. They say I'm fair. They don't want me around, but they say I'm fair. And there's some good dealers out there. Don't mistake that. And we have a list of recommended dealers on our website, earloncars.com, earloncars.com. A lot of information there. And he's the cybermaster of our mystery shopping report. Nobody does this. Nobody but nobody goes out and visits a car dealership, pretends to buy or lease a car, and writes a long, detailed report and tells you exactly who you talked to, the name of the dealership, when it happened, the prices, the conniving, or the honesty. I mean, we've been blown away. I mean, we have tears in our eyes sometimes. We go into a car dealership where the intent really is to be transparent and honest and give you the best price they can on the car with no surprises, no sneaky hidden fees or dealer installed accessories, all that other kind of. They don't do that. Every now and then, there's far too few. I'd say, what would you say, Stu? 5%, 5%, and 95% aren't doing it that way. I haven't mentioned the Gallup poll in a long time, so I have to do that. Since 1977, I believe, the Gallup Association, worldwide, the most respected polling association in the world, Gallup, has a survey they do every year since 1977. That's almost 50 years, and it's called Honesty and Ethics in Professions. Honesty and Ethics in Professions. Guess who is dead last in that survey? Car dealerships. Nurses are number one, by the way. I love nurses. They are, and when you're sick, they're so nice. And my wife Nancy is like a nurse. She takes care of me. I love nurses. Car dealers dead last, and they've been that way since 1970. They've been that way since before 1977. That's just when the survey began. So I'm on a rant. I'm going to stop. Please call the show 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. And Nancy, my co-host, who founded the show with me about 20 years ago, she is going to tell all the females out there, all the ladies in the audience, and there are quite a few, thanks to Nancy, what special surprise and reward. If you're a first-time female caller, you get a prize, and she'll explain that to you. Nancy is also a strong advocate for ladies' rights, and we're seeing this now. It's a revolution in the country, way overdue, and ladies have got a long way to go before they get equal rights. I started to say minority groups. They're not a minority group. I think they're 50+%. They buy 50+% of the cars and everything else. And so how the dealers get away with treating them the way they do, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to turn the mic over to Nancy, and she'll tell you some other ways you can reach the show.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, do we have an exciting show this morning. I want to open up the show by letting everyone know that the reason for my excitement, in my olive oil saturated hands, I am holding a office of the Attorney General. Someone, not someone, but a caller, a woman from April, used her patience, her willpower, her strength to pursue why she was taken advantage of. And I got goosebumps talking about this. This is just phenomenal. And her name is Lori. And I reached out to her this morning, left a voicemail and asked her to please call the show. The reason that she pursued all of this...
Hold that up while you're talking?
Sure. The reason that she pursued this is because she was taken advantage of, and Earl and I, we really tried to help her a lot. Earl went ahead and gave out a cell phone number, a personal cell phone number. So there it is up on the screen. And if you want to take over and read the rest of that.
Well, it's so complicated. You go ahead.
That's why I'm stopping. Yeah. Okay, well, hand it back to me.
It takes a lot of work, and I just want to congratulate Lori for doing this. And unfortunately, it just takes a lot of work, and very few people will take the time and have that
it's rare.
Persistence to do what
it's
you
rare.
did.
I'll just read you the second part of all this, the additional sheet from the complaint to the Attorney General. Here's Lori. My complaint: dealership is dishonest and did not honor promissory note. And she has a photocopy of that. General Manager James Lazaro refuses to communicate with me. Salespeople have dealt with me, and it hasn't been a pretty time for her. But she pursued, and my hat is off to her. She gets the Purple Heart. Number 3, on the advice of Earl Stewart Toyota and Nancy Stewart, I tried calling the owner, the dealership, which the telephone number was given at 954-647-7437. She left three
that's
messages.
Teddy Morse's personal cell phone.
Excuse
And
me?
That's Teddy Morse's personal cell phone.
I heard it the first time, but I wanted you to reiterate. So through no telephone calls back, she was left with no other recourse but to pursue, to use her patience, to use her willpower, to use her voice as a woman, to get some recognition, some action, anything. So here we are. So Lori, if you're listening, please give us a call. And then she goes and, this woman is unbelievable, sends us a thank you card. And how many times do you get something like this of this subject matter? We get a lot of thank you cards, but this is just a little different. And she just went to lengths to just dot her I's and cross her T's. And I really think that she's going to get some action in the Attorney General's office. You know that we have talked about that over and over again. Ashley Moody. Ashley Moody, are you listening? So, dear Earl and Nancy, thank you for your advice regarding my complaint against Ed Morse. And she goes on about the complaint, the Attorney
Morse
General.
Cadillac, I think.
I'm not going to reiterate,
Yeah.
but here it is up on the screen. And I think, Jonathan, can you see that? Okay.
A bunch of pineapples.
And what a pretty card. Well, what a positive card. Very nice. So, Lori, give us a call. We're going to talk more about that.
And the moral to the story is you too can file a complaint with the Attorney General. That goes on record. And if you do that, they have to look at it. They have to respond. It's difficult. You can download the form, Attorney General complaint form, at earlandcars.com. It's a lot of stuff that you can download on earlandcars.com, and you can read mystery shopping reports.
I have that back up, Jonathan.
But you can download this form at earlandcars.com. If you got a complaint, you got a beef with a car dealer, this gets their attention. The chief law enforcement officer in the state of Florida is Ashley Moody. She's the big boss. She calls the shots on crime in Florida. And when this goes online, you send it to her, it becomes a matter of public record. And the media can access it, we access it, you access it, public record. And car dealers don't like that. They will have to respond. My guess is this will be resolved positively in Lorig's favor. So thank you very much for doing that. And men and women, do the same. The rest of you out there, there's way too few complaints sent in because it's cumbersome, it's difficult. It's going to take you a half an hour, 45 minutes to fill that out, but it's worth it.
Also, I want to thank everyone who has just shared with us that they are, customers. They call it customers for life, but what they're doing is they're listening to us here at Earl Stewart on Cars. And all of us, the panel, we just simply couldn't do it without them. It's just magnificent. Give us a call toll-free at 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. And don't forget, ladies, the first two female callers, you win yourself $50 this morning. Again, that number, 877-960-9960. And you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget, youranonymousfeedback.com. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Well, I'm going to go to Stu in just a second, but the most popular venue for contacting us is your anonymous feedback. I was talking to Jonathan in the studio here about that and why we don't see more responses, or companies don't see more responses. And we were talking that I think there's a fear among employees, and I guess a fear among a lot of people, that just because you promise it's going to be anonymous, maybe it isn't. I understand that. Who can you trust today, right? Well, I don't know if you trust me. I don't know if you trust Incognito. That's the company we use. I trust them, and my experience with this, we've been using your anonymous feedback for years, and I have never seen any accusation or evidence of anyone actually being identified. Now, sometimes you'll figure out who it may be because they do it either on purpose
Or they sign it.
or they sign it. Yeah, they want to be known, but If you want to be anonymous, you are anonymous. I can't say I have to tell you, I'm not 100% sure myself, but I'm 99.9%. That's pretty good. So let's have your anonymousfeedback.com. We already saw one came in recently when I came into the studio, and Stu collects those, and those are really interesting. And if you will send us one, we will get to it. Even if we miss it this week, we'll get it next week. We always answer all those. Say whatever you want, because we don't know who you are, and I feel good when sometimes I just don't want to be identified. A lot of times I don't complain in a store because I don't want to make it a personal thing. But I'd like the owner of the store to have the knowledge of what I went through, and that's kind of like what you're doing now when you send the anonymous feedback. We can tell people exactly how you feel about car dealerships, including us. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you. I forgot my opening question. And in the USA, the Wall Street Journal, this question was asked over and over again. How likely are you to consider an EV? How likely are you to consider an electric vehicle? Give us a call toll free at 877-960-9960. We have some callers, but I see that Lori got my message, so I'm going to skip ahead to her. Elise, if you can do that for me, thank you. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, Nancy.
Oh, gosh, I'll tell you, pardon me for calling you at the wee hours of the morning.
Oh, that's all right. I should be up anyway, but thank you for bringing to attention to everyone what I've done. I'm a little bit of a dinosaur in that I still typewrite letters, and I fill in forms. But nowadays people get emails. Well, they never gave me emails, and when I tried to call Ed Morse for numbers, they never gave me numbers. So I resorted to typewriting.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's good. Anything in writing, email is always something. It becomes a matter of record, and if it goes to litigation or any sort of prosecution, it becomes evidence. So written correspondence is vital, whether you're talking to a car dealer or attorney or to the Attorney General.
Yeah, and also I'll add to that, what a great way to have a paper trail. Absolutely. I mean, I believed in that from the very beginning, back in the 50s and the 60s, a paper trail. So I compliment you. You are an educated consumer. We love the fact that you did take advantage of the Attorney General.
Yes, I did that, but my only thought is the dealership could claim that they never received the letter, because I did send it certified, but I didn't send it. If I had sent it priority, it would have been tracked. But for a letter, they were going to charge me like $8 to send the letter. And I said, no, I just send it certified. So, it's my word against theirs if they got the letter.
Yes.
That was my only concern.
Well, Lori, keep us posted as this goes down, because we've always thought that Ashley Moody was not acting as much. We had a recent incident where we have lawsuits being filed for dealers not revealing hidden charges when people buy their lease cars back. And I understand that there are 8 or 9 complaints filed with Ashley Moody, Attorney General, on that very issue. So that's encouraging. I think once the ball starts rolling and people start talking and the media starts talking about things, then you see the Attorney General having to act. Otherwise, she sits on her hands because of the fact car dealers are very powerful lobbying. So any developments, email us or call us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, even if I get a holding letter, I will let you know.
Right.
I will, and thank you so much. Thank you again.
Thank you. And,
I feel like something's been lifted off my chest.
absolutely. And if you could possibly email me to just retouch, reconnect, because I had a problem finding our communication between each other last month.
Okay. All right, Nancy. Is it the same email they gave me before? And
Yes.
Stuart at
Yes, Nancy.
Okay.
Nancy S. at estoyota.com.
All right. I'll do that right now.
Have a splendid weekend, and thank you for calling.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye now.
Okay, we're going to go to Donnie in Tampa. Thank you for your patience, Donnie. Hello?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I was calling because I wanted to ask a question for Rick. And what it involves is, although I live in Tampa, I'm going to be buying a new 22 Corolla hatchback from your dealership because of your reputation. And I learned about it from YAA,
Oh,
which I'm sure Earl's aware. But that's how I learned about your dealership. So my question is for Rick is, I'm getting the SE trim of the Corolla hatchback, and I have a question concerning the instrument cluster, whether or not the one that comes in the same car, but the XSE trim, which has the bigger display screen and the digital cluster as compared to the analog one that's in the SE trim, can those be swapped out just as a plug and play and work, or do you have to stick with the one that comes from the factory?
No, they're total different design, and the electronics and the wiring to it are completely different. They definitely would not be able to swap out like that.
Okay, I was just because I've seen some YouTube videos of people doing it, but and it seemed like it worked, but I'm always suspicious of that because I don't know the after effects of it. Cause
Yeah, there would
the
be more
controls-
to.
the-
Yeah, there'd be
the
more to
controls
it
on
than the way they
steering
make
wheel
it
are the
seem.
same. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
There would be more to it than the way they make it seem on those videos, and
Okay.
certain features wouldn't. I could guarantee you'd lose certain features that wouldn't work, and you also it would jeopardize the warranty on the vehicle too if you've changed something like that
Well,
out.
that was going to be my next question. Is if you did that, if that would affect the warranty in some way.
Especially if it caused something to burn up by wires getting crossed or something not compatible, that would definitely be non-warrantable.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. It was just something, I considered ordering the XSE trim, but I didn't really care for all the other upgrades, but I do like the instrument cluster.
Right.
So that's why I was calling, just to see what you had to say about whether that was possible or not. So, and thank you for answering my question. My last question isn't so much a maintenance question, but I'm having a rear window spoiler added on because it's a two-tone car with a black roof. Are those spoilers safe for driving through a car wash, or do you want to avoid those?
I don't know the specific how big what the profile is. Hey, this is Stu. We do have a car wash at the dealership, and we've had issues from time to time on some vehicles that have things sticking out of them, like roof racks. So it could be a thing. I don't know. It would probably depend on the car wash, but I think anything sticking out. But is this the spoiler? Is this a factory spoiler?
Yeah, it's the OEM spoiler that I couldn't order it as an option on the car
Yeah.
because it's two-tone. I could only order it if it was a solid color.
Gotcha.
And so I had to order the part through your parts department
Okay.
and to have it on after I get the car. So, but I got to thinking, I usually normally do a drive-through car wash.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe you can't do that anymore with the spoiler added on, even though it's low profile.
I mean, I don't think it's likely to. I mean, most of the issues when we run into them are with larger vehicles, like a big SUV and a roof rack or something, like I said, sticking out of it. The Corolla's pretty small. Tell you what, I can find out for you, or if you want to speak to one of the guys at the parts department, like Martin at the parts department, he would know. You just ask him, is this going to be a problem in a drive-through car wash? And he's going to probably have a little bit more knowledge of it. I think it's possible, but probably not likely.
Okay.
Hey.
Well, I'll be coming down to the dealer maybe this week, and the car's supposed to arrive, and I'll do that. I'll speak to someone at that time.
Yeah, and if it turns
Well, I
out it
appreciate
does,
your
then
time and
then
your help.
yeah, just return it to us.
And for me
Will do.
personally,
I thank you all.
Before you hang up, I want to ask you one quick question. How did you discover YAA, and how long have you been a member? I recently joined about a month or two ago, and it's an amazing organization. How did you find out about it?
Well, it was I was since I went into looking for a new car, I was on YouTube, and I just stumbled on their one of their videos, and I started watching it, you
Yeah.
know, and I started listening to Ray and Zach, and during the course of following his daily broadcast and reading their articles and stuff, they mentioned your dealership, and at that time, I don't think you had joined yet. But that's what piqued my interest. And even though I live in Tampa, you know, I was like, I'm not getting the same sort of consideration on buying a car
Yeah.
from these local Toyota dealers that your dealership is known for. So I'm like, okay, you may be a few hour drive away from me, but you know, I would rather do business with a reputable dealer than to go through the hoops that, you know, someone else does. And then I learned about your channel on YouTube from YAA. So one led to the other, and then I've been
Yeah.
following both of you since then.
Well,
You know,
thanks.
becoming educated on everything. So
Thanks, Donnie.
it's been a really good experience.
Yeah, we had Zach call the show a couple weeks ago, and we'd like to give them a good, strong plug. They are an amazing group. The reason I asked you how you discovered them, because we haven't seen anything like that until we ran across. You go to joinyaa.com, Join, you know, like join, yaa.com, gives you all the information. It's a father and son group, Zach and Ray, and they have a lot of really qualified experts on advising people on buying and leasing and maintaining and repairing cars, testimonials, recommended dealers. I mean, joinyaa.com is an amazing group. And thanks so much for finding us, Donnie, on there and buying a car from us and for calling the show. We really appreciate it.
And Donnie,
Well, yes, sir. It's been a pleasure. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to let you know that what a domino effect. Great call. Thank you so much. And well, YAA, I can't say enough about them. Thank you, Donnie. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, you'll have a blessed day. Thank you very much for your time.
God bless you too. We are going to stay with the
Bye-bye.
phones, but first I want to say that you know something, women represent a huge opportunity for the auto industry. Please don't forget that. 877-960-9960. Ladies, $50 for the first two new lady callers. We're going to stay with the phones, and we're going to talk to Renee, who's a first-time caller. She's calling us from South Palm Beach. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, very well this morning. Thank you for calling, and you won yourself $50 this morning.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for the opportunity. That's exciting. Thank you.
How can we help
Thank you. Well, can I ask any question about a muscle car?
Any question.
Sure.
Muscle cars was really a big article in the automotive news recently. I was reading about it yesterday, as a matter of fact. How does it interest you?
Well, I have a mini car collection of vintage vehicles, like a 442, the first year,
Wow.
the 68 convertible, and it's not four on the floor. It's an automatic. It's on the console. But I just acquired a 66 triple black convertible Mustang, and I was driving. It's also an automatic. I sold all my manuals, and I was driving down the road, and I'm embarrassed to say I maintain the car. It's a GT350 wannabe because it has the hypo. It doesn't have the 289, and I, decoded the VIN. I did all that. I did all the research. So I'm at this red light, and it's like chugging, and then boom.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and I said, uh-oh. I never blew an engine,
Oh,
but I don't know what that means. I don't know if my car, I don't know what happens, and I don't know what to do because the car's not drivable.
oh boy. We'll have to turn this call over to our genius technician here, Rick.
I could use it for your help.
From the description you've just given, it sounds like the engine has indeed locked up or blown up. Basically, it sounds like you're going to need to get a mechanic to diagnose it. My first step is...
Be a little more specific about what happens when...
Well, there's many different causes, but the biggest one is usually when a connecting rod bearing wears out or breaks, comes apart, and basically the connecting rod separates from the crankshaft into many
Yeah,
pieces.
so the crankshaft makes a connecting. The connecting rod connects the crankshaft to the engine where the pistons
Right.
go up and
It's
down. Yeah.
internal, the crankshaft is the big center rod that's spinning, and the connecting rods are connected to it. They are moving up and down with the pistons and spinning the crankshaft. And when one of them separates away from it, it basically, the metal just starts to shatter.
Yeah.
And it
Sounds
starts
like you're
just
talking about
destroying
a new engine.
metal.
New engine, right?
Yeah.
Well,
it-
wait, wait, I have to get a new engine, or can they rebuild? Oh no.
Oh, rebuild to use would be you're not going to get a new engine for an older car like that, so you would get a rebuild or a used, and you should look for the warranty. And, the pricing is going to determine how good a warranty you get, but they are available out there. You'd be surprised. So there's some very sophisticated sources for used parts now. It's all computerized, and you can find it and price it out and get competitive bids.
Well, for a 66 Mustang, though, that you're trying to keep it, I'm guessing you want to keep it as close to original. My first thing that I would do is I would seek out the forum sites and look for some of the car clubs around here, the antique car clubs. Track down some members there and ask them who they use for mechanics for their cars, because you're going to want to find someone that really has a finger on the pulse of the community. You'll be probably able to find parts for that car, maybe even locally, at an extremely good rate, because what you're going to find is a lot of these car clubs, these members are so passionate about their cars, they'll practically donate parts to try to see another car like that get back on the road.
Exactly.
So you're actually not in that bad a shape on it.
Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Sorry that you had the problem.
And Renee, I want to tell you, you're part of a sophisticated group, and you piqued my interest. Hey, are you going to take me for a ride in that GTO?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
It's a convertible.
I
drive
don't care what it is.
Chrysler.
I love those muscle cars. Takes me back to my teenage years. Renee, congratulations again on your $50. Thank you so much for calling this
Thank
morning.
you.
I'm sorry we have to rush. We got calls backed up. Please spread the
Thank
word.
you.
We're building a platform here for the ladies. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
You two, I'll certainly do that. I've already started spreading the word. Thank you so
Oh,
much
boy.
for your time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Bye-bye. We're going to go to Marty, and Marty's giving us a call from North Palm Beach. No, West Palm Beach, I believe Marty's calling from. Good morning, Marty.
Morning. I did an Agent Lightning job for you,
Look at.
so I wanted to give you the information I got. A relative of mine thought they wanted a Honda Civic, so we went over to Bremen Honda. The base price in the car was $24,765. They wanted $399 for wheel locks, $379 for window tint, lifetime warranty. They wanted $499 for fabric protector.
Oh.
They wanted $390 for maintenance, $580 for pinstripe and door edge guards, and only $2,000 for market adjustment. And that brought the car to $29,021.
Wow. What model was it, Marty?
It was a Honda Civic.
Civic.
Sport.
That's a low price
So-
Honda.
Yeah. So I talked to my relative, and we went over to Earl Stewart Toyota, and they ordered a RAV4. So Raymond, I offered the guy, and I knew he wouldn't take it. I said, I'll give you the MSRP plus tax. And I said, in the old days, you'd say I was a sucker. They didn't even move. They wouldn't even talk to you. So that was over $4,000 extra.
Yeah.
You're the greatest, Marty.
So you can put that in your Agent Lightning file
Yes,
and stay out of that dealership.
exactly. Hey, Marty, what was the 580 for again?
Let me see if I get back to my phone here. Hold on. 580
Pinstriping.
was. Wait a minute. No, I'm not driving.
Jonathan says it was pinstriping.
Pinstripe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pinstriping. pinstriping and door edge guards, only $580.
Wowsy.
It's tape.
Okay. I thought that's what you said.
Yeah, so
You know,
that-
you can
I
never
mean,
believe these numbers.
And I don't even know. And this, but in defense of them, this was on the addendum sticker. I mean, this wasn't like go in there and start off with MSRP. This was out in the open. This price. So I guess I got to give them a D for honesty.
Can't make the stuff up.
Right.
Well, thank you, Marty. Call again. Appreciate your free mystery shopping report, and
Okay.
we'll do another
It was
one.
very, very interesting because I told my relative, I said, "You're not going to get this for MSRP." I said, "Go to Earl Stewart right away," but they wanted to look at the Civic. So
Exactly.
they're through with the Civic already.
Marty, you're a
right.
blessing. Thank you so much for calling.
All right. Have a good holiday, everybody.
Thank you. The same to you.
Okay.
Ladies, I have $50 left here for the next lady caller. The second new lady caller, $50. 877-960-9960. And you can text us at 772-497-6530. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Yeah, I want to brag a little bit. I like it when we get the word out. And I got a call. I didn't even mention this to Stu, I don't think. I got a call from CNBC a few days ago, and they've seen some of the hoopla going on in Florida, and they did a Zoom interview focusing on the future of the car business, and it was all tied to the fact that what we talked about, or what I talked about at the beginning of the show, how will cars be sold 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and what is going to happen? Will we be buying cars directly from the manufacturers because of the outrageous activity by car dealers? And we have this big lawsuit going on in South Florida now, 30 some odd dealers involved because they're charging hidden fees and dealer install accessories and all sorts of extra fees on the purchase option price, which is direct violation of the law. The consumer has a protection when he leases a car, saying that the option on your lease contract is the only price they can charge you. They cannot charge you 1 penny more than that. And dealers in Florida are charging thousands of dollars over the option purchase price. Consequently, we have two attorneys in South Florida, Miami, Dania area, that are suing around 30 dealers. So CNBC has heard about all the hoopla, and they'll be running that video, or they've actually said they may want to do another Zoom video to talk about the history of the car business. Rick,
Guy Larrabee happened to ask a question who says, will other manufacturers likely go the Ford route with respect to selling their electric vehicles directly to consumers? And I looked it up and I found an article on YAA, Join YAA, where it says that Ford is actually following Tesla's route, where they're going to be selling the cars where you order it online and then the car is delivered later, which basically is a direct-to-consumer sale, and that Ford is going to apparently follow this route and may even try to do it later with their Ford Blue division, which are the gasoline-powered cars. So do you think that they're actually going to get direct-to-consumer?
I think they would want to do it, and if there were a manufacturer that would do it, it would be Ford, because Jim Farley, who is a friend of ours, we used to have him with Toyota years ago. In fact, Scion, he was the founder of the Scion effort, which failed, unfortunately, for Toyota. And then he went into a different capacity with Toyota, and then Ford grabbed him and made him CEO of Ford. So Jim Farley is very positive when it comes to the consumer. The problem is his hands are tied by state franchise laws, and you can't just sell electric. Tesla is not able to sell cars directly just because they're electric. They are a new manufacturer, and so the new manufacturer...
Are they getting around it? Because it looks like they're under the Ford umbrella, creating two different companies. One's Ford Blue for their traditional, and then the Ford E is going to have, they're planning on doing this direct-to-consumer model.
Yeah, well, they can try,
Yeah.
and I applaud them for trying. The problem is if the state attorney generals don't want you to do it, and the state legislators don't want you to do it,
You're not gonna
and,
do it.
and the dealers don't want you to do it, and they have a little meeting in a smoke-filled room, you're going to find a new law. And Tesla actually has encountered some laws popped up in a couple of states. I think Texas might be one of them. There's one or two states that you cannot buy a Tesla. You have to go over the state line. So it's going to be a giant battle at the time the manufacturers do what Ford may have done. And when that happens, boy, it's going to hit the fan, and there's going to be lawyers, and there's going to be attorney generals, and it's going to be a bloody massacre fight because the manufacturers want to go direct. Ford's the only one with the courage to admit it publicly, but I can guarantee you, Toyota, Honda, nobody wants to go through the car dealer network. It's just a pain to them, a pain to the consumer, and they want to go direct. But hey, it's been 100 years of lobbying and state legislators that have grandfathered these dealers in. You can't get them out. It'll take a long time before they get out.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a question for you. Earl talked about this, and he was, even on the local news. Why are car dealerships adding extra fees? Why are they adding extra fees to those that are buying out their leases? Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. 877-960-9960. We're going to stay with the phones, and we are going to our next new female caller, and she's calling from Wellington. Her name is Camille. Good morning.
Good morning.
Is it Camille or Camilla?
It is Camille.
Oh, good morning, Camille. Congratulations.
Good morning.
You just won yourself $50.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you. Please spread the word to all of your friends that we are giving out $50 for the first two female callers. What can we do for you this morning?
Morning. Thank you again. Calling. I have a Volkswagen Jetta, and it's almost done on its, and we want to buy out the because we definitely don't want to try to, at this point, try to go buy a new car with all the different fees out there. And we have a decent buyback on the car. We actually went to go visit the dealership, and our buyback is $13,500 roughly.
That's a lease car, Camilla, you're talking
Yes.
about?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's a lease, yes. It's a 2019 lease. And when we went back to the dealership, they tried to have us buy the car back for over $20,000.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, they're adding
Wowzy.
dealer fees and inspection fee and
Junk
warranty
fees.
fees. Yeah, fees after fees, and honestly, not even an explanation as to how the fees were breaking down, but see that.
Camila, do you have a pencil handy and a piece of paper?
I can't.
I want to give you the name of an attorney in Dania, and his name is Joshua Fagan, last name spelled F-E-Y-G-E-N. Joshua Fagan, F-E-Y-G-E-N. His cell phone number, direct line, is area code 954 697
Okay.
0357.
Okay.
He's suing now 20 or 30 dealers for the very crime that you're describing here. And there is a law, it's the consumer lease law, that says the purchase option price is required to be the number stated in your lease contract. In your lease contract, that purchase option price is all the dealer can charge you. They cannot charge you 1 penny more. The state can charge you sales tax, and they will, and you also have to buy a license plate, or a transfer. But the dealer cannot charge 1 penny over the purchase option price. So Joshua Fagan, before I call Joshua Fagan, what I might do is call the dealer back and say, I'm gonna call Joshua Fagan.
Okay.
And if you don't know who he is, Google him. WPLG has done a series of articles. That's Channel 10 in Fort Lauderdale. WPLG Channel 10 Fort Lauderdale. So the word's out. The dealers are really worried. Maybe this dealer doesn't know about it, but you tell them that you want to buy that for the purchase option price, or you're going to call Joshua Fagan, and he can see. You'll see him in court.
Okay.
This-
Because we tried going through a Volkswagen.
This is going to take you a long
Okay.
way, Camille. And
Yeah.
again, that number is 954-697-0357. So I'd take advantage of that avenue that you can open up, and I'll tell you what, you'll get their attention real quick.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys have a great holiday weekend.
Call us
same
back.
to you.
Call us back and let us know how it went, Camilla.
Yeah, we
I
would
will.
we
Thank
would
you.
love for you to stay in touch with us, and please spread the word to your lady friends. Thank you. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget, youranonymousfeedback.com. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
I just have a little anecdote here that I ran across in automotive news, and it's amazing. You think luxury cars, what do you think about? Mercedes, Lexus, BMW. Do you know who the mogul in luxury car sales is today? The big gun? Tesla. Tesla is number one in luxury car vehicle sales, and they're 33,400 cars ahead of BMW. They're ahead of Lexus. They're ahead of all the hotshot luxury people in the world. Number one luxury car dealer. So if you think Elon Musk is a flash in the pan, think again. He's reinventing the luxury car world for sure. Rick?
And Kyle in Pennsylvania had just given us a quick note here that says apparently Tesla immediately raised the prices by $9,000 in the case of the cheapest standard Model S. He says, so I like that the price is up front, but the customer's still paying way more than a year ago.
Yeah. No, the prices are going up. You know, if anyone thinks, see, the first thing they attacked Elon Musk at Tesla about was they're making all their money by the subsidies from the government on electric cars, and nobody can possibly make this, make this thing happen with electric cars. People aren't going to buy electric cars, and as soon as the subsidies run out, Elon Musk is going to go broke. Well, now he's making money hand over fist, and now not just with Tesla, but with SpaceX, and with what's the other companies, Stu, that he's got? He's got.
The Boring Company.
Yeah, the guy is Twitter pretty soon. So the guy is a financial genius, and he's reinvented the car business in the United States. It's going to be amazing to see what happens. And
Yeah, they were saying that he should back away from Twitter. He's tweeting too much and just concentrate on Tesla. Here, I have an alert for you, Earl.
An Earl alert.
Earl.
Oh.
The Tesla, I believe, is leaving the parking lot.
oh,
It's right here.
Your car is leaving?
What's going on? The Tesla that we parked out front?
I think it's achieved sentience and it's now going to get groceries.
yeah.
Okay.
If anyone's interested, what has happened is Nancy and I, when we parked the car in South Florida, the sun, we put it in doggy mode. A little thing on the screen, you hit doggy mode, and we choose 72 degrees. So while we're at Publix or while we're at the radio show, the temperature in the cabin of the Tesla is maintained at 72 degrees. And then your big display, which is visible from people walking outside the car, says, my owner will be back in a few minutes, and he's keeping the temperature in the car here at a very comfortable 72 degrees.
Please
It's
don't
got-
break the window.
And it's got a picture of a doggy in there. And that's so people won't break the window or call the police. But we realized we only had 22%. We didn't know we only had 22% charge left on our battery. So the Tesla notified Nancy and me that we're turning off doggy mode because, and you're going to have a warm car when you get downstairs because you've only got 20% left on your battery,
Yeah.
and we don't want you to have a dead battery.
That little red Tesla has notified us
How cool is that?
of a lot of stuff. But Mr. and Mrs. Crazy that's driving that Tesla, I'll tell you what, I see an opening here, ladies and gentlemen. We do have to do a reality show. It will be like no other. Two crazies in a Tesla. 877-960-9960, 772-497-6530. Take advantage of all of the avenues that you can get in touch with us. We are going to take care of you two.
We're actually kind of caught up right now on YouTube.
Okay, so we're going to go to Stu.
Absolutely. I'm going to jump over to Anne Marie's text, but before I do, the text just came in and said they'd like to hear the information for the attorneys that you mentioned. It went by a little bit too quickly. And I'm also going to answer before you do that we have these listed on earloncars.com. As a matter of fact, it's the most recent article. So if you go to earloncars.com, the one right up on the top titled WPLG, Channel 10 in Fort Lauderdale upholds the meaning of the Fourth Estate. It's all about what we just talked about, and towards the end of the article, it's listed Joshua Fagan, and it's 954-697-0357, or Jonathan Kane, and that's 954-523-5123. I'll repeat that. Joshua Fagan, 954-697-0357.
Interestingly, with Joshua Fagan, do you know how he got onto his first problem with dealers in this lease buyback thing?
He tried buying back his own lease.
No, they took advantage of his daughter.
Oh.
And you don't want to take advantage of a lawyer's daughter.
Or mother. No. And then Jonathan Kane, 954-523-5123. So if you are, if you've tried to buy back your car and the dealer has added extras onto it, call these guys. All right, let's jump over to Anne Marie, who sent this yesterday, and it's waiting for me. Good morning. I realize you're a Toyota dealer and not a Hyundai dealer, but I'm hoping that you can answer this question anyhow. News reports say that Hyundai is recalling 239,000 cars. They're the Accents and Elantras and Elantra hybrids in the U.S. because the seat belt pretensioners can explode and injure the vehicle's occupants. One, why would a seatbelt pretensioner explode? I can understand the airbag exploding, but because it has a charge, but I've never even considered that a seatbelt pretensioner could explode. Can you explain this, please? And yeah, that's another little hidden thing. Normally, they don't cause problems. It's what cinches the seatbelt back in the event of an accident. And Rick can explain the physics of that and the mechanics.
You've pretty much got it exactly right. In the retracting portion of the seatbelt, where it will wind up the belt, there's basically a small charge, and it's got about the power of a 12-gauge shotgun
I
shell.
didn't know that.
That's how it saves
I
you.
mean, there's a hand grenade right there, and there's
Well, it's only a
over
firecracker.
my
No,
shoulder.
it's a shotgun shell,
Shotgun
but
shell.
without the shot.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I know this, by the way, Father. When I first started selling cars in 1997, that's one of the safety things I learned about. This has been around for a long time.
At
had
the
no
moment of
idea.
impact, it actually
Explodes.
blows up a small controlled burst that makes the seatbelt yank in and retract as hard as it can
Oh, geez.
to pull you into the seat so that you're back up
Yeah,
against the seat.
so you're
as
not
snug
just
as
flying
possible.
forward; it's pulling you back to keep
Yeah.
you safer, which is a good thing.
How many?
Until Hyundai ran into this little problem.
That they
I'm just
started
not laughing, but-
going off immediately while you're driving down the road.
That's a
Suddenly
bad
your
thing.
seatbelt just basically yanks you back into the seat.
Is that a feature? Pardon me for interrupting. Is that a feature that's still? Is that on
I-
the Avalon?
Yeah.
Every car.
Everything.
Okay,
Everything's
so
got it.
Earl and I went back and forth for the last 2 weeks about my Avalon because there have been times whenever I have driven it, and that feature, it's well, it's good and it's bad.
We're talking about in an accident when you. It
Well,
doesn't
when you make a
explode.
sudden stop, it just grabs you
yeah, but
Well,
and
that's-
it locks.
That's actually the seatbelt lockup.
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
a lockup.
mechanical
Yeah.
feature that
Uses
when you're
a flywheel.
if you get a sharp hit the brakes or something, the seatbelt will lock and not let you go out. Won't let you pull out
Exactly.
more seatbelt.
That's
and
different,
that
yeah.
again, that's designed to keep you held in the seat.
And it
so
definitely
that you
restrains
don't go
you,
slamming
and it
forwards.
definitely isolates you. And so what I've been doing is
No,
open
it's not the same thing.
well, it's another feature of the
Yeah, another feature,
of the
yeah.
seatbelt.
Yeah.
Okay, well we beat that up.
Now, I don't know if they know. I'm looking at the Anne Marie sent the article. I just wanted to see. I don't know if there's been any injuries or if anything's happened or if it's just a potential defect. So don't want to panic anybody. But if you have a Hyundai, you need to go to safercar.gov and put your VIN number in there and see if your car is affected by this.
Any car, every car,
Yeah.
you should check your car at least
Yes,
once
yeah.
every couple of months, once every 6 months. Check your VIN number to see if there are any open recalls on your car.
But Hyundai drivers, you might have exploding seatbelts. So
And here's
And then for whatever it's worth, as we talk about this as if it's really going to make any difference, when you have the recalls and you do know about it, people just don't go in and get them done anyway. So only it's apathy. The Takata airbag, if you've been listening to this show for a number of years, we hammered, we begged, we pleaded. People get the notices. Sometimes they don't. I mean, I know that. And there's availability, safercar.gov. A lot of ways to do it. You can ask your dealer, blah, blah, blah. The fact is, even when they get the notification, people don't come in. The manufacturers now are hammering the dealers and notifying the customers, please bring your car in for these safety recalls. But apathy. For every 4 recalls, one person comes in to get it fixed.
And here's a quick hack for you. If your car has a safety recall and you go to the dealer and they say, well, we've got to order parts or something, you tell them, I don't feel safe driving this car. I want you to provide me with a rental car, and the dealership has to pay for it. No money comes out of your pocket, period. They are required to provide you a car until they get your car fixed.
They'll get an argument now with rental car prices off the chart, so it'll be a battle. Anyway, let's move along.
Yeah, great information, Rick. We're going to go back to the phones, and we are going to talk with Julie from West Palm Beach. Welcome back, Julie.
Hi, thank you. I had a question. Unfortunately, back in March, I had a car accident, the first in my lifetime of 50 years driving, and I hit somebody from the back. I thought it was a minor accident because they didn't really I couldn't tell they had any damage to their car. And mine, I thought it was mainly a fender bender, but I called up my insurance company, and they said I could talk to somebody in 3 weeks. So I go to the dealer to meet the insurance agent. It's actually a technician from the dealership. And I said, I thought I was meeting an insurance agent. And they said, we're a State Farm certified shop, so our technicians can look at your car. So then they ordered the parts. 3 weeks later, they came in, and then they had my car for 2 weeks. And I have a Corolla, which is, a relatively cheap car. But what I thought was minor damage turned out to be $5,500. And luckily, I only paid $250, my insurance deductible. Is that normal now that they're having the technicians from the dealership represent State Farm or other insurance companies?
It's very difficult. The insurance companies have cut way back on their overhead for the obvious reason of more profit. And we have a collision repair center at our dealership, and it's more difficult than ever to get insurance adjusters out. They've gone to the videos and the graphic. You take a picture of the customer's car, you send the video file or the graphic file to the insurance company, and then rarely do we see insurance adjusters in major collisions. You can get them out, and usually takes a long time. But you're right. It should be a qualified person at the dealership that has been through a course on estimating damage, and he should have a certificate, and he should know. In fact, he would have to, if he's a State Farm certified shop. State Farm would not accept the estimate from him unless he were qualified.
And on the cost of the repairs, that's unfortunately becoming more and more frequent. There's sensors, there's so many things. I was in a similar thing. My brother and I were rear-ended recently, a few months ago. Zero indication of any damage on his car whatsoever, but it smashed his parking sensors apparently underneath the bumper, and it was a costly repair,
Yeah, I was amazed when I've yet to look at the estimate that shows the actual parts of the car, because what I was given was parts and labor report, and out of the $5,500, the labor was almost $2,000, which seemed kind of excessive, but I don't know.
Julie, let me ask you a question. This is for my own edification here, because we have a collision repair also. When you had the accident, and you called State Farm, you called your agent and told him about it, did you have any discussion with him about where you'd like to head? First of all, what kind of a car do you drive?
It's a Corolla.
Corolla, okay.
Corolla.
Did you say that you would like to take it to a Toyota dealer, body shop, or did you have any conversation?
Yes, they did ask me where I wanted to bring it, and my car's my car's only was only maybe 17 months old. I mean, it was relatively new still, and so everything was warranted still. So I
Right.
decided to bring it to the dealership.
Do
But
you-
we did have a discussion of places that I could bring it to.
Do you mind if I ask you which dealership you took it to?
Palm Beach,
Uh-huh.
Toyota. And
Okay.
So we went to Penske Collision.
Uh-huh. Well, that's a good indication from State Farm. They've been guilty in the past of steering people to the shop they want. In this case here, they had apparently a shop that I didn't know was a certified Toyota shop, but apparently it is.
State
But,
Farm certified.
Right.
State Farm certified, yeah, but not a Toyota certified.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we don't know. Well, thanks, Julie. That's very interesting, and you brought out a lot of information that a lot of people aren't aware of. The high cost now with all the sensors and complications in cars. Fortunately, you had good insurance, and it only cost you $250
Right.
bucks.
Yeah, but God knows what my insurance will be going forward. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
Julie, things are terribly pricey, and
Yes.
thanks for bringing all of that to our attention.
and yeah, and one final thing, people were telling me I was pretty lucky that I got the parts in that quickly because it could have taken a lot longer.
You
Boy,
were.
that's for sure.
You were.
Everything,
Really.
everything. Inventory shortage. Julie, thanks so much for staying in touch with us.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Look forward to hear from you again. We're going to go to
Okay.
John in Palm City. Good morning, John. Good morning, John.
The recalls came up again. We've more or less been ignoring it lately with all the things that are going on with the new car pricing.
Yeah.
But what I want to say was, particular car I'm going to speak to about is Hyundai. The notice is only going out July 1st, and there's 220,000 cars involved from 2019 to 2022. It's something major to do with the seatbelts. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a major problem. And again, on Hyundai, a second recall is going out for another major problem. From 2013 to 2014, the fuel line in the engine leaks and the car goes on fire, whether the car is running or not. But that's gone out before, and evidently they're not satisfied with the amount of recalls that are coming in on it. So it's very important that a person that buys it, the way used cars are selling now, they get on the phone, either call the dealer or the nationwide 800 number and find out if there's any recall on that car. Very, very important because safety is involved. And then the second part of that question, if I buy a car that's 100% certified, like say from a Honda dealer, okay? They say all the points have been done and everything. And then I find out later that at the time that I purchased it, it had a manufacturer's recall on it, and the dealership, the new car dealership, didn't do anything about it, but yet he's certified that all his inspection points and everything were done. Is there any recourse to an attorney that somebody could have?
I think it'd be tough, John. I think it would be probably too. I don't think an attorney would take that. It's just, even though you're right and the dealer's wrong, when an attorney takes a deal or doesn't take a case, it's based on how much money he can make, and usually that's within your benefit too. The more money the attorney makes, the bigger the problem that you had that gets solved, hopefully. But it's too small for most attorneys to take something like that. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah, the remedy would be like to refund the amount of the cost of certification,
yeah.
be like $800, and
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a ton of money.
But you had a good point, John, because I'm going to shoot from the hip here. 7 out of 10 certified used cars did not have a thorough check that they claim. There's a check sheet, and they say check it. The people that are doing the certification often are salaried. If you're in a dealership where they're on flat rate, they get paid on the per what they do. There's less likely they're going to take advantage when they're paid by the job. But it's like a lot of check sheets. Tongue-in-cheek, half seriously, I say, ask to see the check sheet, and if on the check sheet someone drew a line through all the boxes, then and it's not dirty and greasy, that means they probably didn't do it. They say, here's the car, here's the check sheet. They
Yeah.
take the check sheet, they draw a line, and they send the car along, and you buy the car, and you never are the wiser.
Good point.
Well, I'm so glad that the topic came up again today
Yeah.
because it used to be part of the shopping reports, and it's so important for people, especially where used cars are selling so fast, and it's a matter of life and death. So I just want to thank you for bringing up that topic again today.
Well, thank you, John. Thanks for the call.
John, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
877-960-9960, and the text number here is 772-497-6530. Don't forget there are a lot of different avenues that you can go to. A lot of internet out there, education. Your PC is just unbelievably. What was the word you used one time, Stu? You were talking about it being so. There was some adjective that described it. Anyway, think about that. I'm going to give you a website you can go to, www.floridalawprotectingcarbuyers.com, www.floridacarbuyers.com. Take advantage of that also. Okay, where are we going?
Got a couple here on YouTube.
Rick?
Kyle in Pennsylvania says, I'm in an old dealership photo Facebook group, and he saw photos posted. The first one was a Monroney label from a 1970 Chevy Camaro. MSRP was $3,500. Another photo showed a same car, Chevy Camaro, 1980 model, with an MSRP of $10,500. Earl remembers the 70s inflation rates. Do you see a repeat coming on that?
I don't think so. I mean, interest rates back in the 70s were off the chart. I remember paying the bank 20% interest to finance the new cars I had in stock. And you could buy a note, a GMAC, General Motors Acceptance Corporation note, and get like a savings account, but it's a note, and you get 18% on the note. You put $1,000 and they pay 18% a year. It was absolutely crazy. That's when we had wage and price controls, and I don't see this inflation here. I mean, people talk 6 or 7%. I've heard nobody talking double-digit inflation. I don't think it'll happen.
And John Strine says, I've read lately Toyota has announced twice a projected reduction in completed vehicles for 2022. I want to order a Venza and was told I couldn't order it until at least August. Will the announcements by Toyota affect the projected delivery dates? And does Toyota keep dealers informed on production numbers on a regular basis?
They do, but not as well as they should, and we don't keep our customers informed either. It's not very organized. In fact, it can't be because there's too many surprises. I mean, the whole Ukraine war was a huge surprise. We thought it was only a microchip issue, then we found out there's other. So the supply chain is a complicated, worldwide, convoluted mess. And when this pandemic thing came wham bam, caught everybody off guard, and Chrysler I still call them Chrysler Corporation, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Fiat, or whatever the hell they are. Stellantis? What's Stellantis? Yeah, Stellantis.
Yeah, Stellantis.
It's like Nissan. Anyway, they're on the low end of getting parts. They have certain manufacturers that are on the top end. They're the preferred shipper too, and so it's just absolutely. I don't think. I thought things were going to get better last year. I still think things will get better this year, but it's going to be a long time before we ever, if we ever, get back to normal. It's too good for everybody. By that I mean not the buyers. It's too good for the sellers. The manufacturers, even the ones that don't admit it, if they're good, if they're going to survive, they're making good money. The dealers are making obscene money. I don't think we want to go back to the day where the manufacturer could build all the cars they wanted to and send them to the dealer and make them take the cars, and they get into this vicious competitive selling, which is great for the consumer. I think you're going to see some good price controls on cars. I wouldn't be surprised to come out of this thing and saying cars bought like you do Apple watches and iPhones. When you walk into an Apple store, you pay sticker price.
Nope.
You want to buy an iPhone, an Apple Watch, sticker price. You want to buy a Chevrolet, sticker price. I think that might be, it comes down to that, maybe a little better, I don't know.
So I have a question for you. So you don't really think that it's the 1970s all over again?
No.
Even with Wall Street, with everybody talking about it.
No,
And
inflation.
they're calling it stagflation.
Well, we didn't have stagflation in the 70s. It was
Well, today they're-
rampant prices, and it was just crazy. Anyway, it's far, far worse than the 70s.
Well, it's a real split. It's a real debate. Anyway, folks, what do you have to say? Give us a call toll free at 877-960-9960. And you can also text us at 772-497-6530. And don't forget that you can subscribe to Earl Stewart on Cars podcast. You can do so by following podcast apps from your iPhone and your Android smartphone. You can go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, Stitcher Radio, and also SoundCloud app. So take advantage of that also. Now back to Stu.
All right, we have a text we got from Dee in West Palm Beach, and Dee's tried to ask these questions for the last few weeks, but we've run out of time. We've had so many phone calls last week.
Yeah.
I remember we hardly got to any.
Covered up.
But let me get to Dee's questions. First question is just he wants a quick review of rat and possum defense. We were talking about animal intrusion in the cars, and the most common are rodents like rats. And
Yep.
Rick, maybe you could run over really quickly what you can do to keep rats from getting in your car and messing things up.
Some of the best things that we found are hot pepper tape. Honda actually makes this product where it's a tape infused
That's right.
with cayenne pepper and other hot spicy peppers. You wrap this around places where the rats might get to and chew, and hopefully they taste that, they say nope, and they leave. I've heard that cinnamon oil sprayed underneath the hood of the car can help chase them away.
But that'll burn your eyes when you go to work on that car.
That's for sure. And just other than that, some of the best things to do is try to
Don't
avoid
keep
having
cheese in your car.
Yeah, don't try to avoid having anything long grass areas near your car. You
Yeah.
know, avoid parking near places where rodents might congregate or come from.
And if you have a rodent problem, like in your yard, you can call your pest control company, and they can set traps out there.
Yeah.
And
Call
we ran
Bush
it-
Wildlife.
or call Bush where they will relocate the rats. The rats. That's what
What
they
about
do.
millipedes?
That's what they do.
Don't see those much anymore.
You don't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come over to our house.
I had one by my pool.
They're in the garage, they're in the car, they're in the house,
Oh.
they're outside,
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
They're harmless.
I'm always taking pictures of them.
You should try counting them.
I have. You said they're
Yep.
harmless, but step on them.
Ew.
Step on them.
They're smelly.
Yes.
Okay. The second question is a question about do it yourself repairs, DIY repairs for a rusting car roof using converter. If you're a professional, maybe try that. Just if you're not listening, rust converter, you can remove rust, or you can apply something called converter, which it converts it into basically a goo, like a black goo that hardens, and you can paint over it, you can sand it, and it's just it could be a big mess, but it's a viable alternative to rust remover, and it might even be better if there's perforation on the rust because it's going to form like a little goo that will harden. But it would be messy. That's my only opinion. Are you familiar with rust converter at all? I've messed with it before.
I've heard of it, and I've never really been a true believer in that sort of thing. To me, it's I would consider
it's used on car parts and body repairs sometimes,
but if you're really trying to save the car, replace that body part.
Yeah, there you go. We have a text here from Robbie and Stuart. Hey, Robbie. Robbie's text all the time. Robbie says, "Good morning. I have a 2011 BMW X5 I bought new. We bought a new 4Runner Limited from you and haven't driven the BMW since. Well, obviously. It needs a battery, struts, or bushings. I want to sell it, but I don't want to go through the hassle of dealing with the dealer. You've spoiled me with your honesty in every department, and I don't want to go anywhere else. Who buys vehicles like this as is? Thank you." And that's, like I said, from Robbie and Stuart.
I can answer that right now. Anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, now's the time, Robbie. I mean,
You got all the sources, online source. Just sit there with your smartphone, go to Carvana.
we buy
boom.
any car.
Yeah, we buy any car. They're all, and then when you go there, you'll see advertised other sources. Everybody wants to buy that car. You can have fun with this because you got a car you're driving, you like, you want to get rid of that car, you're in no hurry. Take a week and just see how many different places you can get bids on. CarMax, I left them out. And everybody wants to bid on these cars. And you'll get a huge, huge price and have some fun with it.
Yeah, Robbie,
And you can call us. You call us, we'll give you a price. I mean, and we'll remind you of some other places to go. We probably won't be the high bidder. I mean, if you really want to take your time and shop, it's a car seller's paradise out there. If you're selling your car, be it a lease buyback, be it an old car you've been driving or a late model car, whatever it is a seller's market. You can finally enjoy what the dealers are enjoying right now. Dealers are in high cotton. They're getting fat and happy. They're getting huge prices. You can be a dealer. Shop that used car years around. You can make yourself several $1,000s profit.
Yeah, and even with the issues with the struts and the other issue, you can still get a figure with that factored in. That just the estimate of the cost that repair would be deducted from the normal appraisal or figure they give you.
Yeah,
So,
years ago, remember cash for clunkers? There wasn't any pandemic back then. People think when they got an older car, it's not worth anything. And dealers were taking advantage during cash for clunkers by paying $50 a car. And we had wholesalers that would come in and bid on the cars.
3,000, 4,000, 6,000.
Yeah. We weren't paying, but the wholesalers were paying, and we'd pay, and then we would sell it to the wholesaler for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and it was unbelievable. The clunkers, the cash that we got for those clunkers.
None of them were so clunky.
No.
Yeah. Boy, that was a time. We got. There's probably some listeners who weren't even born during that. We could probably tell them about the cash for clunkers
Never
era.
forget it.
Different time. Anonymous feedback here. There's one that came in a couple of days ago. I think you read it, or you might even dealt with Rick on this. It says, "Hey, great video from Rick on battery issues. I have a charging issue. Battery light came on and could smell the belt. Alternator lost charge. Replace alternator battery. Light turned off, but doesn't come on with key." Key on, grounded out alternator. This is a lot of technical stuff. Do you remember what this was about?
Thanking
it goes on.
Rick,
thank you. You solved a big problem with a whole lot of technical stuff with 12-volt signals and ignition and alternators and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I
the
think
car
the
nuts are going to hate me for this.
Well, the bottom line on that, he still had some issues going, and I think we pretty much recommended it looks like he got a defective alternator.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's spoken in Rick language here. It's not even like in English, it's just all just the facts. And Rick understood it, and wow, okay.
And when you're on Facebook, they have a translate. So if you get something in Rick language, you just translate it.
Exactly. Here's another one. Nice tip at the end of your show last week regarding being able to use your flashers in the rain in Florida. Thanks for tips like that. Yeah, we last week we just discovered I was Googling something else, and we've said don't put your flashers on in the rain, and apparently without much fanfare, last summer there was a law passed in Florida, signed by Governor DeSantis, that says, on highways with speeds over 55 and in low visibility conditions, you can put on your flashers.
Another law that will never be enforced.
Exactly. I think it's just to let the annoying people off the hook so they can't get pulled over.
I'd like to be a lawmaker for a while. I just make a bunch of laws, and nobody reads them or enforces them. But you could kind of vent and get all the laws.
Should I read this one about arresting Fauci or something? I'll skip that one.
About what?
Arresting Fauci.
Oh.
No. We get spammed from time to time. Okay. Costco program says vehicle be sold at the lowest price for which model for the model they'd sell to anybody for what time period?
I think it's pretty much during the time period when Costco audits the car. I mean, they can't say that you sold it at the beginning of the year for this price and now it's the end of the year because the prices would always vary. But
it's from the time it's from the time you post that price.
Yeah.
So if you post a price and Costco approves it, say it's $20,000, and the lowest price you've been selling to your regular customers is $20,500. It's during that period when you post it. So if they chose to audit you, that would have to be in that time period.
Well, yeah, you post prices whenever you want to. I mean, and you can repost higher or lower, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how quickly Josh handles that directly with Costco, so I think it's pretty instant. You go online, so I don't know if because I don't have an evil brain. I don't always think of the way things can be used for nefarious purposes. So I don't know if that could be used to manipulate, like a Costco dealer. Could they change prices on a day? You just how fast could you do it? Could you do it over an hour?
No, because they don't honor the rule anyway. So why would they? Why would they
So,
care?
Stu,
Right.
you're
In other words,
saying,
if you want to be evil, don't think too much. Just be evil. You're not
Yeah.
going to get caught.
Stu, you're saying your brain doesn't go sideways?
No, it doesn't.
Hey, I have a
That's
real
my
quick.
biggest problem.
I have a real quick question, and this may fall into Rick's lap, and it's from Industry Innovations from Automotive News. And there's a French company. It's a French sensor and software company that just specializes in food and fragrances and things like that. And just recently, they went into the business to detect what just doesn't smell right in your car. My question to you: how many times do you get a complaint like that? Rick, tell us what this smell is, where it came from. How can we get rid of it?
Well, before you answer that, this article, and I apologize because I should have remembered that. This is really interesting. This company has scientifically can scientifically measure bad and unpleasant odors or any odor, and what we do now, it's all subjective. Rick, you have a sinus condition. My guess would be you can't smell as good.
And plus, most of the country has had COVID, and nobody can smell anything
Yeah,
anymore anyway.
so human beings are imperfect. You come in and you've got a serious odor in your car, and Rick gets in the car and he says, "Smells okay to me." Well, Rick can't smell anything.
Yeah.
I'm making this up. Rick can
And-
smell
and-
it.
and
But,
Rick-
It's a song.
but the person driving your car, same thing with the hearing. People in my dealership are angry at me because customer calls up and says, "My car is making a terrible noise," and the technician took for a ride and says he can't hear it. And so then I called the service manager. I said, "Would you please have a technician that can hear drive with this customer?" And they get mad at me. That's not an insult. We all have visual
Yeah.
sense, smell. So
Glenn can't hear.
if you can,
No.
if you can put it in, if you can scientifically create an instrument that will measure it, what a great idea that is.
Yeah, but
Smell-o-vision.
our problem at home is that my ability to smell things is enough for the world. I can smell anything and where it came from, how many miles away it is. But let's get back to this article
Rick
in the
wants to-
Automotive
yeah,
News.
Rick's gonna
This
answer
is
it.
done with, this is important, this is done with biosensors. We're talking science here, with peptides. This is from Silicon Technology. So this is, what are your thoughts?
Sounds like a great idea because it takes a subjective thing that one person might hear a noise that another person can't hear. One person gets an odor that another person can't detect. A smell is offensive to this person but not to this person. And it gives you a concrete definition of what that odor is and how severe it is. Because I can take my iPhone and use a sound meter on my iPhone to tell me you're getting a sound at this frequency and at this decibel level. This is, that helps guide me where I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think
But smells are so subjective that
It's very personal.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
try
very
to,
subjective.
I'm going to investigate buying stock in this company. This sounds like a huge breakthrough.
it's fantastic because, I mean, the idea of sniffing out the scent of a mold
Yeah.
that has grown because of a small water leak in a car or a belt that's starting to slip a little bit, causing a smell.
Things can multiply quite quickly. In this article, it says that we're measuring preferential affinity, or the absorption of various odors and malodors to these peptides, which mimics what we have in our nose.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, your nose works by basically molecules going in and being detected. So if you can create a machine that can duplicate that process,
That's always bothered me because if I smell dog poop, that means
No.
I actually have dog poop in
No.
my nose.
It means you have hydrogen sulfide. No. You're smelling hydrogen sulfide. You're smelling gases that are produced by
Well,
the.
And that's a good point, Stu.
we're saying the
So
same
many
thing.
gases.
It's not fecal matter in your nose.
it's not actually the matter. It's
There's
the
no
gas
poop in
being
your nose.
released
It's
by
the
it.
worst part.
But it's not.
We're
poop.
digressing in a very bad direction.
We are. We're going.
There's a
wrong.
lot of. I got a lot
let's
of
move.
anonymous
Well,
feedback over.
there's
Let's move back to
everybody
one-off
has a
feedback.
very valid, a very valid complaint, but I was just wondering how many times that falls into Rick's lap in the line of work that he does. 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. You can tell by the speed of my voice we're running out of time. We're going to stay with the phones, and we're going to Mark in Palm Beach Gardens. Good morning, Mark, and welcome.
Good morning, all. I'm glad to get off that poop subject there. Anyway, I wanted to get touch base with just a little knowledge about the rust dissolving issue. Back in about 40 years ago, I managed a major local body shop. A lot of times we used a product called OSPO inhibitor, and we used it when we fixed up older cars that people want to paint. A lot of times you get rust on the trunk floor from leaking or rust in the firewall between the engine compartment and the passenger compartment of the car. A lot of times we use those products in order to change the rust over to carbon or a carbon-like substance to stop it from growing, whether it was perforated or not. And then after an overnight soak, you'd wash it with water, and then it was primed and painted. It's weird that just yesterday, my daughter picked up a product. I have a canopy on my patio that's anchored to the patio floor that I spend most of my daylight hours under, and the straps that hold it onto the ground are starting to rust away. And I don't want to spend $600 for another canopy. Anyway, make a long story short, there's a product sold by Home Depot, Lowe's, made by Rust-Oleum. It's called Rust Dissolver, and it's a spray gel that you spray. You would scrape off any rusty area, and then, excuse me, spray it on, let it sit 30 minutes, and then rinse it off with water, and you can paint right over it. Stops the rust. Mm-hmm. So you can use it on old-style steel wheels that have rusty surfaces on them. You can use it on tools. Anyway, it has an automotive use, and it's very inexpensive. But I heard you mention Stu, the rust situation. Yeah. I just wanted to share that.
What's the brand name,
anyway,
Mark? What's the brand name?
Rust-Oleum.
It's made by Rust-Oleum, and it's called Rust Dissolver.
Okay, Rust-Oleum, Rust Dissolver. Interesting.
Hey, Mark, would you think for like would you recommend an amateur messing around with the rust converter, or is it too much of a messy situation?
Yeah, you just make sure you wear safety goggles and gloves, rubber gloves. And if you get it on your skin, rinse with water right away. But it doesn't have to be too messy. This is, like most spray applicators, got a spray stream and a straight stream. And, you can keep areas small as you want. You just have to be conservative. And, you just spray it on the area affected. You don't need to do anything more than that. So, yeah, use it. I used it and let it sit overnight. Washed it down with a power sprayer, and instead of being red, rusty, it's now black. And I've used other products. This is the first time I've used this one, but I've used other watery type sprays on my same van. It keeps them clean for about 6 months, and then it starts to slowly creep back.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tips.
Anyway,
Mark, what a great tip.
That. I know you guys are, and I'm looking forward to the
Thank you. My experience with Rust-Oleum products, that's an amazing product, and you're wise. Wearing gloves, doing it outside, that's the best place to do it because those fumes really spread. We are going to go to Stu.
Okay. Anonymous feedback. Says, we just bought a used car from Bremen Audi in West Palm Beach. They use the digital closing documents. Here's the process. Once in the box, the finance manager brings up all the standard docs, reviews them, and has you sign them on a touchscreen. Once all the docs are signed, the documents are printed off on paper for the dealer file and then scanned to a thumb drive for the customer. There's nothing underhanded about the process. If you wanted the paper, they would provide it. We appreciated the thumb drive rather than a lot of paper. I converted it from zip drive to thumb drive just as an educational thing. Zip drives went out about 20-something years ago. We're talking about thumb drives or flash memory drives. But I think Earl did a little bit of follow-up after that last week, and maybe you can report on that.
Yeah, I talked to Alex Kirkin, who is the attorney for the Florida Automobile Dealers Association. He's our go-to guy for auto-related law and things of that, of that nature. I was shocked to find out that's perfectly legal. And as far as he's concerned, I'm going to actually take it a little further, because I think there's got to be some case law. There's got to be something in the federal regulations for disclosure and transparency. Basically, there's the letter of the law and there is the intent of the law. The intent trumps the letter of the law. I think what we're seeing now with the digital revolution, I think we're seeing science and technology get ahead of the law. And we forget that a high percentage of our population of consumers is digitally blind. In other words, there are a lot of people out there that don't know how to find information digitally, and they can't read it, they can't understand it because they can't read it, they can't find it. It's hard enough when you get a hard copy, we call it in the digital age, a piece of paper with a disclosure, because a piece of paper's got a bunch of fine print on it. We were struggling for years and years and years to have the manufacturers and the dealers not have fine print, that we should have important stuff like prices and modification of those prices in large letters. And we're talking about on a piece of paper. So we never won that war, and before we could lose or win that war,
and remember what happened,
they changed the rules.
But remember what prompted this last week? There was a woman called, her son bought a car, had agreed to a price of 60. They tried to sell it to him for 65,000. Then they negotiated. They agreed to 60,000. He went home, got the thumb drive. He didn't have a computer. It took several days. He went to his mom's house, plugged it in, saw the price had been changed to 65,000. Yeah. I think a good follow-up question for Alex is: shouldn't it be legal to make sure that they offer the option, offer paper first, or offer as an alternative? Because it sounded like they just gave him the thumb drive and kicked him out.
Well, he would probably tell me off the record, but the dealers love this. I mean, trust me. All I got to do is rewind my brain to 1975, and I would have killed for the ability to give somebody a thumb drive instead of a copy of the buyer's order or the installment sales contract or the lease contract, because people don't read the paper contracts anyway. How are they going to read? Think of the trouble you have to go through. How many people know where the thumb drive insert is on their PC? And
I don't have a thumb drive insert on my PC.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying, that's exactly right. I mean, it's just...
Right, I couldn't. I would have to go to work. Well, actually, I have an adapter at home. I'd have to find an adapter and do a bunch of stuff that most people aren't going to bother with.
Well, there's some attorneys out there listening. I wish somebody would text or write, call the show, something, and give us your advice. I think I'm correct that the way laws are made, someone would have to sue. So you'd have to, this young man that had the thumb drive that got taken advantage of because there was no disclosure, he needs to file a lawsuit. And he needs to find a good attorney that wants to do something like make case law. Because once he wins, there's no law against it, but he can still win. Because the judge will say the intent of the law was disclosure, and that was violated. Therefore, we're going to hold that the thumb drive was not transparent and honest.
And then voila, you have precedent.
And then you have precedent, and then you have a new law. So that's our next windmill. We will tilt at.
All right. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to stump Earl. You ready?
Okay. Easy to do.
It is. This is a really easy one. What are Earl's thoughts on the Lexus IS 500 V8? Zero.
Yeah.
I don't have any thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, V8. I mean, what is it?
Well, is this the IS? Okay, so were you talking about the IS is their small Corolla-sized car.
Well, 500 is a big engine. I had the LS 500.
You had the LS. Now, if they're putting a V8 in the IS, do you know if they are, Rick?
I have not heard that.
Because that would be a whole lot of engine in a little tiny car.
Yeah.
That would sound dangerous to me.
Kind of outrageous.
Or fun. Depending on your point of view.
Combustion engines are an endangered species. They're going to go away. You folks out there that like the muscle cars and the big engines, you better buy them now because they won't be around much longer.
Well, not even like in Toyota. That's the reason I think it's interesting that Lexus is building V8s. Toyota, the Highlander is dropping the V6.
But why would you do that when they've just come out with the Corolla YR?
Yeah.
That a 3-cylinder turbocharged engine is producing over 300 horsepower.
Yeah, and you're seeing it like the Tundra got rid of the V8. They're down to a V6
I'll tell
turbo.
you why, because old guys buy
big engines,
$100,000 Lexus, and old guys buy high price.
And our caller, our female caller
Yeah.
from earlier, she does it too.
And old guy says, "Oh, a V8, how many horsepower? Wow!" And then if you tell them a Tesla's got 1,500 horsepower,
Yeah, just listen to
it'll blow
Earl and John
the
go at
doors
it.
off that Lexus.
I think the audience is widened from the old man or just the guys in the muscle cars. There are a lot of ladies out there that are interested in muscle cars. I'm one of them.
Well, yeah.
They're a dying breed.
Well,
They're
okay.
very unique. They have a lot of empathy for that vehicle. Rick, do I see a snicker from you?
No, that's a Clark bar.
No, I was just thinking of the old song
You're
Greased
the
Lightning.
only one, Nancy.
All
Pardon
right,
me?
I got another
Greased Lightning
feedback.
from the movie Grease, the song and the car.
Oh yeah. Okay. Next anonymous feedback. It's a question that says, "Does the Toyota dealer decide whether or not to put on Toyota Platinum? It's not Toyota Care. It's Toyota Guard Platinum for the $700." Great question, and yes, it is up to the Toyota dealer if they're going to put that on there. So if they tell you you're getting a car, and I've heard this for how many years? 25 years. All Toyotas have Toyota Guard. No, they don't. It's up to the dealer. Now, in some situations, equipment comes in on a car because of a dealer trade after it's been work ordered, and so you don't have the ability to remove something at a certain point. But most dealers that are selling Toyota Guard are selling 100% of their cars with Toyota Guard, and that's their choice. You go on to your accessorizing system and you click, "I want a 100% Toyota Guard."
They sell the Toyota Guard for around $700.
Yes.
And the cost to the dealer is around $250.
Correct.
So that's almost a 300% markup.
Yeah.
So that's the reason.
They're selling it for more than 700
Yeah,
now because
yeah.
everything's over sticker.
And the pricing is so convoluted and complex. They have spiffs, prizes for the salespeople. They have money for the dealer. They have holdback. They have it's a marketing genius thing where the dealers feel like they have to have it. And 95% of the Toyota dealers, Southeast Toyota dealers,
Yeah.
have Toyota Guard.
Right.
Because it's a huge profit center.
And when a salesperson tells you that it's required or it's on there, they probably believe that. They might have been trained that, you know. So
All great information.
yeah, we're caught up.
We are, thank you. We're going to go to the mystery shopping report, and as Stu calls them, that's a Rigo CDJWPB, otherwise known as
Don't read it.
Mystery Shop of Arrigo, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, West Palm Beach. Now back to the recovering car dealer, and don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we'd love for you to rate this mystery shopping report, put your stamp of approval on it, or give it a failing grade, whatever, but it's very important. 772-497-6530. Again, 772-497-6530. Please vote.
We're
now
ready.
back to the recovering car dealer.
Oh, thank you. The theme of our mystery shops for the last weeks has been family-owned dealerships. Whether located in small towns or in hectic metro markets, our shops have demonstrated that family-owned dealerships have priced their vehicles more fairly. We find that they're generally a safer bet for consumers during this shortage-fueled pricing. I changed orgy to melee.
Okay.
Yeah. But let me say something about family-owned dealerships, and Nancy and I talked about this in the car on the way to the studio. Family-owned businesses are an anachronism. They're a dinosaur. Family businesses, period. I mean, this is something that we grew up with, Nancy and I, and all businesses now are almost not family-owned. You know, everything you buy is usually publicly owned, and even the publicly owned are owned by hedge funds that own all the stock. So mom and pop stores are falling to Amazon and Walmart and Autowise, going to AutoNation and Penske and Sonic and the rest of them. So yeah, it was a nice ride. Small car dealerships were a nice thing to have. They're dropping like flies, folks, because the value of a car dealership today, because the obscene money car dealers are making by selling their cars at thousands over sticker. Everybody wants one of those money machines, and car dealers are just selling out. The mom and pops are dropping, and 10 years from now it'll be like, oh, there's one in Oregon. They're just not going to be around.
It'd be like the last Blockbuster.
Exactly. We talked about the dying breed of family-owned car dealerships and how they're being acquired by big auto groups, both publicly and privately. Okay. One such example is Arrigo Chrysler Dodge Jeep West Palm Beach, here in shortened to Arrigo. That's short, CDJWPB. Okay. Well, we'll just go with Arrigo. Now, Arrigo was once owned by the flamboyant Chauvin, Arrigo brothers, Jim and Joe. By the way, did you know that their dad passed away about a month ago?
I didn't know that.
And he was a true pioneer, Joe Arrigo Sr. Amazing guy, going way back. He and Jim Moran were friends. He started out in Chicago, came down to Florida with Jim Moran, ran GM Pontiac in Hollywood. But he was the spark of the Arrigo family group, which started out with a Dodge dealership, I think, in Jacksonville, and then the father bought another dealership and brought the sons in. So talk about family owned. They
What a
really
story.
go way back.
Yeah, God bless them.
And anyway, they sold out, unbeknownst to most people, because the Arrigo brothers are still enjoying the commercials. And the big groups now like to have a name, a personal name, because in the car business, you hear a name on a dealership, it sounds like you can walk in and talk to the dealer or call him on the phone. In most cases, you can't, but it's a warm, fuzzy thing. Now, Schumacher, for you local people, come join the Schumacher family. Well, I guess there's a family, but I think they're in Montana at the ranch. But most of the dealerships, he's got, about a dozen in the area? Now, here's the interesting thing. Stu, I don't think you realize how big the Morgan Group was. The Morgan Auto Group acquired Arrigo brother a few years ago, a short time ago. And
It's more than 49?
was it? Anyway, did you know that the Morgan Auto Group is a huge group now? They're number 8 nationally. Number 8.
Oh, okay, so I was wrong. I looked up it's on their on the web page, and they listed 49. Maybe I was just looking at Florida dealerships.
Yeah, and during the buying frenzy during the pandemic, they're out there just snapping up dealerships all over. So there's a huge group there in the top 10, and number 8 actually. So way up there, and just a point of it, more interesting to us than you, because to you it'll always be Arrigo Dodge, and that's the way they want it to be. It's for marketing. They're marketing it, and the Jim and Joe Arrigo, or John, is it Jim and John or?
Jimmy and John.
Jimmy and John. Joe
Jimmy
is the
and
father.
Johnny.
Joe's the father, yeah. Jim and John.
Jamie.
And they do a great job. I mean, they are entertaining commercials. They get your attention. And I'm not sure I like the practice of camouflaging in dealerships.
Real quick. A couple weeks ago when we did the Roundtree Moore Ford up in Lake City, that's owned by the Morgan Group too.
Yeah.
So
And that's part of they're just snapping them up. Yeah. And Larry Morgan, I know well, because we were on the board of directors of Florida Automobile Dealers Association together and on the executive committee. Great guy. And he made a fortune in tires. He had he sold tires. He had a huge, like chain, national chain of tires, and he sold out for a huge amount of money.
He wanted to sell cars.
And then, like a lot of multimillionaires, he got bored, bought himself a dealership in Tampa, said, hey, this is fun. And then he got on the Dealers Association, and the rest is history. So now he's number 8 in the country. So really cool guy. And the son is running the store now, I think, the stores. Anyway, a lot of dealers are camouflaging, as I alluded to earlier. Terry Taylor, the largest, privately owned. They're not even public. They're privately owned. And I wonder where they rank.
Oh gosh, I mean, who's number 1? Is it
They might-
Auto Nation? Then Penske?
AutoNation's number 1, and then Penske dropped down to 3 or something. Anyway, this is only interest to us car dealers, but the lot of big groups are, when names on Maroney's an example in West Palm Beach on Okeechobee Boulevard. Maroney used to be, originally it was Roger Dean. He was a real guy. That was private. And then he sold out to AutoNation, and they changed the name to
Those Maroney.
AutoNation Chevrolet, And then Maroney, who used to be the president of AutoNation, bought it. He quit AutoNation and he bought it back. Now he has his own group called Maroney. Why are we talking like that?
Better get
Nobody
some
cares
stock
about
in
that.
AutoNation.
Nobody cares
The point
about
is,
Let's
the
talk
point
about
is, it's a big
McDonald's.
smoke screen, and no one knows who owns these dealerships.
Exactly.
And it makes it very difficult.
Who owns McDonald's?
that. Anyway, go there we are. Okay, Morgan keeps his name off the dealership signs. He even keeps the dealership's name after the previous owner. Not very transparent, and I agree with that. Most of them are doing it. And Roundtree, Stu talked about this a second ago. They were really owned by the Morgan Group, and there they are. Actually, a good experience too. Or was it a good experience?
Not really.
$6,000 markup. That's not a good
And
experience.
the salesperson said he charged his own mama that $6,000 markup.
Oh, that's right.
So, we gave him credit for being upfront because I think after the text drive he says, "Listen, I just want to let you know that we mark up our cars," and he was upfront. But it's kind of like being upfront, like I'm going to beat the crap out of you in 5 minutes. I'm like, at least he was upfront about it.
Okay, here's the report. Here's what's that's interesting to us. Now this is interesting to you. I arrived as if I were Agent Lightning in the late afternoon, greeted by a customer service lady at the front desk. She asked me what brought me in. I said I wanted to see the Chrysler Pacificus. She asked if I wanted a new or pre-owned, and then handed me over to a salesman by calling over a man saying, "Greg, you're up." Dealer vernacular.
Right. Now, was it
You
you're
have an
up?
up
Like,
system. It's an up. When you walk in the door, you're not a human being. You're no longer a human being. You're an up. And that's
right.
what we call you.
It more from possessive. That's you're up. You're up to go. Now it became a thing. All right, let's keep going.
And there's an up out there in the lot. I see an up in the lot, and that's what we call you, folks that buy cars. Greg walked me through the showroom to the lot where there was a white Pacifica Pinnacle. Highest trim level, obviously. Greg said this model had the nicest of everything and everything of everything. That's a nice phrase. He said the only thing it didn't have was a refrigerator, and I actually had a Lexus one time.
Some cars have
with a refrigerator, yeah.
So it doesn't have everything of everything, Greg.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Greg left me at the car while he went back in to get the key. He returned 7 minutes to say the detail guy lost the key, and they're waiting for someone to make a new one. Folks, you have no idea what an aggravation that is in car dealerships. Everybody always loses keys. In this case, it was an expensive mistake because the set of keys cost $800. Highway robbery, I hate it, I hate it. That the manufacturers screw the dealers and the dealers screw you. We get charged obscene amounts as a Toyota dealer for keyless remotes, and then we charge you even more obscene amount, and it's just not right. $800, you can buy an iPhone for $800, right?
Yeah, an SE.
Oh, how can they charge you $800 for a key?
I just ordered a new remote for my pickup, just the simple little fob that locks and unlocks it. My price on it as an employee was $80.
$80 internal price. That's a bargain price. I asked if there was another Pacifica to see, and he said they had another one that just came off the truck. He offered to drive me around back to find it. As we drove through the lot, I could see they had maybe 30 cars on the ground when I was here last. It was jam-packed with vehicles on a huge lot. That is a huge lot. Now it was a ghost town. And that's what you're seeing now. It's just sprinkling of cars. Most of those cars that you see are probably orders that were canceled, people that backed out, or they just haven't got around to pick up the car. And if you buy one of those cars, folks, that's on the lot, you're going to pay a lot more than if you order the car. You understand that that car that's on the lot truly will not be there long. They tell you that even when they have a lot of cars. When they have 10 cars or 20 or 30 cars, you know that car won't be there very long, and they know it, and they're going to charge you for it. If you can wait and order the car, I mean, you can negotiate a much better price on an ordered car than you can from the inventory. When we found it, Greg asked that he didn't advise that he didn't have the keys, this one, but it should be open. We'd look at it. I told him that'd be fine. Said I was well aware of the difficulty finding cars, and if this one was available, I'd like to look at the numbers. The MSRP was $58,362, and there was no addendum. Greg went over all the features with me, then drove me back to the showroom. I asked him if there were markings up their, if they were marking up their vehicles, like I'd heard in the news, he said they were only adding market adjustments on special vehicles like the Dodge Hellcats. That's what he said. He said they only added the 1995 Arrigo Advantage. That's what he said to their price, and it was the other dealers who were adding all the market adjustments. Sounds like Greg may have been new. I don't know. I asked about the Arrigo Advantage, which really should be the Morgan Advantage.
Right.
A bunch of dealers added garbage, same stuff that was on the Roundtree Moore Advantage, and it could be taken off. He said he had a little luck having managers do this. I asked for a printed breakdown for the numbers for me, printed. Give him a thumb drive.
Right.
Yeah, right. He asked for some information from me first, then after he get the pricing from his manager. He left me waiting for 11 minutes and returned looking worried. He showed me a worksheet and immediately apologized for the big fat market adjustment that had been added. Whoops. He said it wasn't going to happen. It did happen. He said he was sorry, but the Pacifica apparently was in the same category because my manager told me it was, as the other vehicle subjected to a market adjustment. The top line was MSRP $58,362. They added a $4,995 market adjustment, a $1,995, that's $1,995, installed Arrigo Advantage or Morgan Advantage, as you prefer, $394 in taxable fees, which is a salesman talk for dealer fee, hidden fee, gotcha fee, $394 taxable. Remember that. If they charge sales tax on something and they told you it was a fee, well, it's their fee. It's their profit.
Right. If you're charging sales tax, you're buying something.
You're buying something.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not just buying the car. You're buying that fee.
Exactly. It's not a tax. It's a profit to the dealer. And the $998. Can we say $1,000 dock fee, which is silly? It's another hidden fee, another gotcha fee, and yeah. Arrigo Morgan was charging Agent Lightning $8,382 over MSRP for that new Pacifica. Just absolutely. And you know people are paying it, folks. People are paying it. And, God, Larry Morgan and company are making a lot of money. And we are, too. I mean,
Not as much.
Yeah. I'm not charging sticker. I'm only charging sticker. I choke every time I say to a friend, what are the prices of your cars? I said, well, we draw the line at MSRP. Then I choke.
Right.
Because
But then we feel better because we say you can buy it and then go sell it and make an $8,000 profit the next day.
You can. You can take it to the auction. Greg Preston asked if there was a number in my head, and if there was to tell me what I want to buy the car for. He said he didn't want to lose my business over a market adjustment, over a mere $8,382 over MSRP. I don't want to lose your business because of a lousy $8,000. As if there was some minor inconvenience. I put the ball back in his court and told him to tell me what he thought the lowest his manager would go for. That's what you're supposed to do when you're playing the game. He flipped it right back. Okay, we're playing tennis now. I'll tell you what, when you're ready to pull the trigger and fill out a credit app for me, I'll get him to do his best for you. So that's the old game. That's the reason franchise dealers will not exist shortly, because of the game they play. You can't buy anything unless you're going to buy it today. You'll never get the low price until you buy it today, and then it ain't the low price. So there you are. We need to vote. Rush through that a little bit.
One other little interesting thing I included at the very end, I put a picture. So if anybody works for Google, you can report Arrigo for violating the Google review rules. You can't pay for reviews. Goes against Google, any review site's policy. And I don't know if Jonathan has it on the screen, but they said basically leave us a review and get a free $300 value vehicle detail. So that breaks the rules.
I'm gonna email Larry Morgan and tell him that. I know he doesn't
You
know
can
that.
do that.
I mean, he got 48 deals. How many did I say he had?
Well, I counted 49 on the website in Florida, but if there's more,
Yeah, whatever Automotive News said, I forgot. But anyway, yeah, you can't bribe Google. That's no.
Okay, so we got some grades coming in. Mark says very cold dealer, $71K for a minivan, ridiculous. He gives him a D. Frank, Jupiter Farms, F, same sad story. Bob, F for frustrating at Arrigo. And what do we got here? Well, that's what I got so far. But what you got, Rick?
So far, I've got Tim Gilliland with a D, Negan 1 with an F, and Joseph Kelleher says, "What an outrageous dock fee! The maximum dock fee in New York State is $175. So apparently, New York State has a cap on that.
Yeah.
I think California is 150.
California, definitely. They have a cap on it. It's low.
And Brian Sidlacco, F. For me, it's an F. Too many games, too many fees.
Yeah, I'm with an F also. It was especially because when you look somebody in the eye and say we don't do market adjustments, and then 11 minutes later, you give them a market adjustment.
Yeah.
That's duplicitous by definition. I give them an F.
Nancy?
Well, we had this conversation in the car, and I'll tone it down a little bit. Something stinks, and I don't like it, and I give them an F.
If we only had one of those machines, we could find out what was stinking.
I don't need one. I got this.
Yeah, well, if they come up with a machine that measures dishonesty, we'd be out of business.
Exactly. We wouldn't need the show.
Yeah.
We'd sell those machines.
Well, I know everybody's going to get mad at me, but I'm going to give them a D minus. I don't want to think that I'm letting my friendship with the Morgan family come on my way, but I will say this.
You need to recuse yourself.
Oh no! Last time this happened, I did call the Morgans. They did call Arrigo, and they did change something. I forgot what it was. It was a couple of years ago. But I will shoot them an email and just say, take another check at your store here, and I'll send them a copy of the report.
Here you go, and remind them on the Google thing. That's a no-no.
Yeah. Well, that's a clear violation. The rest of it was sloppy.
How many times has that happened?
Well,
Too many.
Yeah, if you got a huge number of stores, this is the problem with large organizations. No matter who you are, Walmart has problems. Everybody has problems.
But it's not just the size of the organization; it's the franchise system. Apple doesn't have a problem. They have a lot of stores. They don't have problem stores, I don't think.
And let me say that the customer service, that person was rude.
Well, we've also got a few more here. Wayne Veit comes in with an F. Let's see. Kirk in West by God, Virginia. The market adjustment gives a solid F minus. M. Av. They are simply taking advantage of people. F. Kyle in Pennsylvania. F. There are dealers, while rare in Florida, that will sell for MSRP. Every other dealer gets an F.
I'll tell you what, I'm
going to change your grade.
I'm going to stick with my D minus, but I'm going to email the Morgans today, and if they get back to me and make some changes, I'll stick with my D minus.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. All right, it's an F then. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night.
Good night. I feel like it's good night. Hey, listen, you're not going to see me this afternoon, Mr. Stewart, because I'm headed to that dealership.
Okay.
I got a bone to pick. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, enough fun. We had a ball this morning. I hope that you did. Not only was it entertaining, but informing. It informed all of us and you. Stay tuned. Next week, we'll be right back here.